G'day mate, and welcome back to Factorio with me, Jedi. In our last couple of episodes we've been here working hard on Gleba, but it's time to finally leave Gleba, it's time to move on. But before we do that, we need to do a quick recap of what's been happening in the background. Also, probably build a new ship or two and look at the interplanetary logistics. But I can't do any of that and so much more until I ask you that very important question. Can I borrow a like? I just like to borrow a like. I like to borrow a like early in the video. Not happy with the video, didn't enjoy the video. Well, I'll tell you what, you can set up the space platforms without me. First thing we want to do is we don't want to look at Gleba. We've spent enough time on Gleba. We're going to go look at Narvis. So Narvis, it's really our all-rounder planet. It's still doing a little bit of everything. It has had a couple of upgrades in the background, namely things like science. Science all running on productivity module 2's rare, because that's the best we've got available at the moment. And it's just had minor upgrades, like upgrading a row at a time. It is, of course, bringing in all the science packs, processing all the science packs, and bringing in our lovely moldy science pack as well, which you're on your way here. Can I really want to disable that. You should unload at Narvis. Yep. I'd like this to be our last batch of moldy science because I have a number of other things I want to look at. But it is bringing in the moldy science. The moldy science is being processed in the labs. We are moving our way through plastic bar productivity number 6, and in the meantime, like I said, it's had a couple of minor upgrades. First things, like, because we're bringing in moldy science, means that we're guaranteed spoilage sooner or later, so we're taking any spoilage we have, currently 14,000 of it, which means a little bit of science has gone bad in the meantime, and we're processing that into, well, efficiency module 3s. Funny thing is, efficiency modules are generally only used in space platforms, also a couple of the planets when you first set things up, so I don't know how many of these we actually need, but, you know, it's a good use for our mold for right now. At the same time, speaking of quality, we have also set up Purple Science to make electric furnaces with quality. It does mean that they have a lower craft speed of only 1 compared to a normal assembler has a crafting speed of 1.2, but if we do a quick check of the numbers, we need to keep Purple Science running at all times and being happy. We need 4.51. And I've overscaled my electric furnaces to 5.2. What does this mean? Well, it means that all the electric furnaces come down, they feed onto a belt, the belt goes around and around, and anything that comes out with quality slides out here. Which means that I have, in just the pure random rolls, managed to get a number of epic furnaces. Now, all the other furnaces, they're not going to go to waste. Potentially sometime in the future we could look at making quality Purple Science, but realistically for right now I just want a couple of higher quality furnaces for things like, well, stone brick. Stone brick, the only way you can ever make stone brick is with the electric furnace. Foundries are not an option, so having a couple of these on standby is also very helpful. Also, it helps for smaller spaceships. The bigger spaceships you tend to upgrade to a foundry, but the smaller ones not so much. In saying that, these actually craft at twice the normal speed of a normal electric furnace, so I think it's an upgrade worth having. Also, it means at the worst comes to worst, we can always recycle them, get back 25% of the resources put in, and in that case, that's going to be a little bit of steel, who cares, a little bit of advanced circuits, who really cares, a little bit of stone brick, who really cares, and then potentially go and craft some legendary ones in the future. Gears has been replaced, as has copper, iron, and steel, because, well, our whole smelting area has disappeared. It's all been replaced with wonderful foundries, which also means that Narvis is now bringing in calcite. It has a dedicated calcite ship, this is the one, that is flying over to Vulcanus, packing up a whole bunch of calcite every single trip, 3,000, and dropping it off. It's also technically bringing in big miner drills and foundries, and also some speed modules, and dropping off any speed modules that it happens to find from Narvis back here. That's our upgrades. Well, that's where Narvis is up to. Narvis does still need a little bit more work, a little bit more time spent on it. We have a whole lot of old mining drills that are doing nothing. A lot of them have been upgraded big mining drills, but it also is running green circuits with us making copper in an EM plant. Realistically, that should be moved across to a foundry. Same applies to red circuits. We should have a foundry down here making copper cable directly. And also low density structures. We're still stealing low density structures out of yellow science. Realistically, that should also have an upgrade, but it's just not high on the list. It's not high on the list of things to do, and you are still processing some mold. Once you finish processing whatever mold's left, which you might have done, 15, 14, I don't know if you're actually processing or not. All right, but that's where Narvis is. It's like I said, it's still an all-rounder. It still does a little bit of everything, and it's happily just getting minor upgrades here, there. upgrade a module, upgrade a beacon, not doing a whole lot of work on Narvis. Okay, on to Vulcanus. Vulcanus obviously has to produce its important things that it needs to produce, being both the foundry and also its mining drill, and also its science packs, which look like they are full again. Yeah, it's just been making some science in the meantime. Turns out we have 144,000 in stock, which probably means if this is definitely finished, yeah, it definitely has finished, we should cancel that one because I'm not importing mold anymore, and we should do some Vulcanus research. Yeah, that's 50 odd thousand. That's fine. We can process through that quickly. So it's making its science packs. It's also making its two rare items for this particular planet. But on top of that, it is 100% self-sufficient. So it's making its own blue circuits for rocket launches. It's also making its own rocket fuel for rocket launches from our coal liquefaction. And at the same time, it's also making its own LDS. There it is over here. So it's 100% self-sufficient. It can run all by itself. It doesn't need any imports from the other planets. It also technically doesn't need to export to the other planets. It is exporting and it is importing. One thing that is a little bit concerning is the amount of coal we're burning through for the coal liquefaction process. It's not exactly efficient. It's never designed to be efficient, which would be fine, except that's our closest coal and our richest coal. If I search the map and I type in coal, I have a 5.4 million. My next one is 82,000. Yeah, I don't have a lot of options. It has also put down a solar panel or two, just the same as Narvis has. Not really for any particular purpose, apart from we get to roll a whole lot of solar panels. The more solar panels we roll, the more chances we have of having a higher quality one come out. And also at the same time, well, if we can become solar sufficient, we will. Yeah, it's just slowly expanding across the plateau, yeah, as quickly as it can. And yeah, you guys are all waiting for upgraded drills. Upgraded drills obviously consume less resources. Yeah, resource drain is lower and lower the higher quality drills we have, and we're not really upcycling them yet. At the moment, we're just relying again on random rolls. Hit a cap. Don't hit a cap anymore. Just fill the box. Yep. So that's where Vulcanus is up to. It could really do with anything that takes the pressure off the coal liquefaction. So if we could get plastic here directly, that'd be nice. If I get rocket fuel here directly, that'd also be nice. They're two things that I could really do with importing into Vulcanus. At the same time, it is exporting stone and also landfill. Well, because we produce an infinite amount of stone and landfill, and they're going to Gleba. It's also exporting batteries. Batteries are going and being shipped directly to Fulgora. That needs to be moved to there. Yep, batteries are produced and loaded directly into rockets, and then launched directly to Fulgora, just so Fulgora can make an extra couple of accumulators. It doesn't hurt to have a little bit of extra power there. And these are closed rockets, so they're not automatically loaded by the bots, they're automatically loaded by the inserters, which have a number of batteries to pick from. Yeah, the build's doing fine. It's going to sit there and run in the background. Speaking of other exports, because it's exporting calcite directly to Narvis, we've again got a couple of dedicated silos just for that purpose, so the bots don't have to fly things all over the place. So on to our next planet, of course, that being Fulgora. Fulgora, it's been busy doing the similar things. It's been making some science packs. We have only 60,000 here on Fulgora. It's also, as I said, making some accumulators. The extra battery imports definitely help because we are producing, with quality modules, accumulators to go into science. Anything that is, well, not coming out at normal quality is getting spat out the rear. And we have 20,000 uncommon. Uncommon, yep. 20,000 uncommon accumulators ready to go. And also every single accumulator on the map has already been upgraded from normal to uncommon. Being that we are limited by lightning power, having bigger and better accumulators definitely helps. We have mined out everything on the left-hand side of our little starter island, and we got lucky we can access this large island with bots. So we're also mining out this. It has 45 million to go, but because we're using big miners, which could probably be upgraded to the next version, I don't know if we have. Nope, we don't have uncommon ones shipped here. We might need to look at shipping some uncommon ones over just to cut back on that resource drain. But I have put prod mods in there because, well, we might as well get a little bit of extra productivity out of the miners if we can. We're going to have a mining productivity of like 330, but a little bit more never hurts. And as you can see, we're not really limited by mining speed, so we might as well have the extra productivity. This little corner, there's still a little bit of resources left. The main problem is we have very, very full crushers because here I have my main crusher stack. So my main crusher stack does any item over 10,000. So if we look at ice and look at this inserter, we have 9.9 because as soon as we hit 10,000, the inserter throws on and throws the ice into the crushers. It's been permanently deleted 9 times out of 10. Same goes for, concrete and iron and brick and all sorts of things. The problem is, because we haven't been doing science, our production is a little bit slower than I'd like it to be. Yeah, an awful lot slower than what I'd like it to be. So we need to start looking at doing science again, so we start processing resources again, so things can start kicking back in Fulgora. We are upgrading any iron over 1,000 into steel, just so I have a little bit of extra steel. As you can see, I've got lucky on some of the rolls, because again, we're using quality modules everywhere we possibly can to get out some higher quality steel, where it would be things that we'd normally end up recycling anyway. Speaking of upcycling, I also have this little group down here, which again is taking steel. Anything over 10,000, this should really be 9.5. 9.5k. Yes, please. Anything over 9.5 thousand, normally the other recyclers kick in at 10. We're just taking that steel and we're processing it through with some quality modules. We've got a dozen, a couple of hundred uncommons, a little bit less rares, and we've just started rolling epics because we've just got the epic research after finishing Gleba. So they are processing. You're set to 10k, you should again be 9.5. We are processing any iron, same story. If we end up getting anything uncommon or rare, it gets cycled out the sides. We're also processing any extra quality module 3s because, well, we have an awful lot of them. We do have this little group here that's making unlimited quality module 3s. Same with on Vulcanus, it's the only place we can make speed modules due to them being in tungsten. We just have a little group that are just processing non-stop. And because on Vulcanus, the resources are actually mined, we can always get in more resources because because Fulgora is limited and tied to scrap. It's a little bit harder to get the particular resource you want. So I haven't spent a lot of time here. It has had a couple of background upgrades, like I said, better productivity modules, better quality modules. You're uncapped, aren't you? You are uncapped, yeah. Just doing what we can, where we can. It is making all the rocket fuel it possibly can, again, with productivity modules, just to burn off all the solid fuel. We've got plenty of solid fuel, so it's never an issue. We could probably swap that over speed, and we could probably export rocket fuel from here, but now it's just so easy to export it from Gleba that we're probably going to export it from Gleba. We do have a couple little builds down here that need to now have quality modules in them, because now we can get above rare quality. And these are just converting any excess things that we happen to roll out when it comes to recycling red chips, blue chips, green chips, these sorts of things. If we happen to get enough that we can turn around and make an advanced circuit that is guaranteed to be uncommon, we'll make one that's uncommon, and maybe, just possibly, it could roll out at a higher quality. Same applies for green circuits, same applies for quality module, both uncommon, rare, productivity, uncommon, rare, so on and so forth. Like this guy's crafted 24. So we've at least got some of them. You've crafted a couple of hundred. This is just slowly working in the background, not spending a lot of time, not spending a lot of effort. Fulgora and quality is something we need to come back to. On to the wonderful Gleba. Gleba is working wonderfully. We've just spent an awful lot of time here making sure that everything is set up. We, of course, have our efficiency modules down here, which look like, no, you can all output. You can all output. You can output. You can output. Cool. They are running. They're doing a great job. We are, actually, one thing I do want to set up whilst we're looking at Gleba is you. We do have bio iron and bio copper here, which means that we can produce, and we are producing everything we need to get off, well, everything we need to launch rockets from here as well. Spoilage, that's what I'm looking for. Copy. Okay, uncommon, rare, epic, and then legendary on the off chance. Okay, can I set you to be spoilage? Okay, so, well, probably helps if I actually put quality modules in it. Yeah, that'll be important. All right, so we are doing a few things on Gleba, or still have a few things to do on Gleba. First one is just make sure that we're going to start recycling rather than just burning off spoilage. I have plenty of spoilage. Again, it's capped at about 10,000. Anything over 10,000 just ends up being burnt normally. in one of the old nuclear plants. These have been completely shut down. We don't use them anymore because, well, Gleba is fully self-sufficient, much like the other planets are. But if I can start recycling... Oh. Well, the inserter missed the pickup. All right. If we can start recycling spoilage, I'm going to, just because, well, I can. And again, with enough random rolls, I'm guaranteed to get an awful lot of uncommon, and then potentially we're going to get some rares. Eventually we'll get some epics, and then once I've researched legendary, there's always a possibility to take in a normal piece of spoilage and have it directly upgrade to legendary. It's very rare, but it will happen because, well, Factorio is a numbers game and you process an awful lot of numbers. So Gleba is fine. It has obviously plenty of jelly, I hope. Yeah, we have a decent amount of jelly nuts now. It definitely has some gaps in the belt sometimes, but it's processing full speed. We have plenty of jelly. We have plenty of yummy. We're making our bioflux here, and in fact, we actually have a backup of bioflux. Of course, we have the rocket fuel. We also have plastic. Again, plastic's being directly loaded into a whole bunch of rocket silos because I am going to be changing over and we are going to start shipping plastic from here to Vulcanus en masse. We also have, of course, carbon fiber. Carbon fiber, technically, I could make elsewhere. Technically, but it needs yummy, which is just a pain in the butt, so I prefer not to. So we're just going to keep this one as is. Oh, no, why have you not pulled out my spoilage? I guess because you haven't processed. The spoilage hasn't made it down to this trash slot yet because you can't kick out the carbon fiber. It stops you taking in more nutrients. Turn to spoilage. Yep. Like I said, we have iron, we have copper, which means we have green circuits, we have red circuits, we have blue circuits. We obviously have plastic, which leads to low density structures down here, and we have rocket fuel. So Gleba, I do need to set up as an export. It's going to be mass exporting plastic. Is also going to be mass exporting carbon fiber anywhere it needs to go. Potentially sulfur. I don't know about sulfur. And also potentially we can set up rocket fuel. The biggest catch with rocket fuel is you can't directly load into a silo. I have to have bots move things around. I'm not a fan of having bots move things around. We do have a whole lot of buffer chests here, so they can bring things over directly. You're probably going to need... You're going to need a spoilage to get rid of. Thingamajiggy bob. Where do I have one of those? I have one here. Not quite, but you'll do. I have one right there. Cool. So we do have Gleba set up ready to export in the future. Gleba is working perfectly. I've had no issues with it just running in the background. We do have not a bus. It's definitely not a bus. It's definitely a river because everything keeps flowing. And then when you get to the end of the river, it flows over a waterfall and then turns into our power block, which means that, yes, Gleba is continuously running off itself. The heating pipe's up to 900 degrees, which means we have potentially plenty of spare power, well, plenty of spare heat that we can turn into plenty of spare power. So Gleba is a planet I'm really not worried about. Occasionally, the friends still come along and say hello, but they're no longer at the point of destroying any guns. Occasionally, they destroy a robot, which means that I am also considering starting to roll engines, electric engines, and robot frames with quality to see if we're getting any higher quality robots out of Gleba, because it has a habit of losing robots fairly, somewhat regularly. Anyway, it does have a couple of imports that it is having. We do have like I said, the Vulcanus to Gleba. Yeah, it is going to Vulcanus, picking up a whole bunch of stone, dropping, and also possibly picking up landfill if Vulcanus has any landfill. In saying that, you only load 20 landfill in a rocket, so it's incredibly expensive to launch. 4.5k stone is not terribly efficient either. But Gleba has a small problem when it comes to stone, which is bad, because stone is actually one of the main requirements for Gleba. If we look at stone, I have the tiny 5.1 that we're currently mining. My next closest is at 370k, which is all the way down here. But as for piddling little bits of stone, there's plenty of it. An awful lot of it, actually. So, yeah, Gleba, I'm just importing stone. I'm just cutting my losses, importing stone for right now. We may look at going and setting up trains or something in the future on Gleba to go get some stone and bring it back. By the same token, I might just keep importing it forever with rockets. We are also mass producing artificial soil So if and when we need to expand, we can expand. Gleba is doing all right in all departments, and we're crafting those with productivity modules, because of course we are. All right, so that's where Gleba's up to, that's where Vulcanus is up to, that's where Fulgora's up to. Again, they all need a little bit of work in the background, but the other thing that really needs a whole lot of work is our interplanetary fleet. So, first off, let's start off with this little ship. This little ship was picking up rocket fuel, low density structures, and blue circuits from Fulgora and taking them via Gleba to Vulcanus. So Gleba had a problem when we first got there, that obviously we didn't have any materials, we couldn't do anything, and then Vulcanus, like I said, any LDS, rocket fuel, anything that comes directly from petroleum products, i.e. anything I got to run through the coal liquefaction, I'd really like to avoid, because we're burning through the coal. So you are actually a retired ship. We're about to retire you. You're going to have a new mission in the future. I don't know what that is. So we're going to set you, once you finish at Narvis, you're just going to get a circuit condition, go to Narvis, sit at Narvis, hang out. Big Bones. Big Bones is our ship that we brought to Gleba. It's done very well. It has, how many inventory slots? 1,000 inventory slots. 1,000 inventory slots that we use to fill up with all the stuff we could possibly think of to head over to Gleba. It's obviously finished at Gleba. We're going to send you back to Narvis. You're also going to go in for a retrofit. Our limo is hanging out in Gleba. It needs to pick us up when we're all done. Turns out it's still loading up stack inserters if and when we have them. You know what? You can also pick up, because I'm going to need some. Can you pick up from Gleba that? Plus, can you pick up some of those? Yep. And maybe I'm lucky to have some rares as well. I do. Okay. Can I set you to 150? Also 150 and 150. Cool. All right. Once the limo's filled up with those, we'll send it off. It can do a full circuit and then come back for me. Okay. We have our space platform. One of our many, many limos. You'll see that most of these are the same design. This guy is just moving around science. He's doing a great job. Once his inventory gets to 0, he's been hanging around Narvis, he then buggers off back home, picks up stuff, brings it back. I don't want him moving around these things anymore, and I also don't want him moving around those things anymore. I just want him dedicated to science. This one is moving directly from Fulgora to Vulcanus, and his main job is to bring quality modules, from looks of it, to Vulcanus. Again, I probably want to replace this one. He's also doing batteries. Okay, batteries are still pretty important. So can I change you to retrofits? Okay, can I change you? We're going to remove that for now. I'm also going to remove that for now. And you're above Vulcanus because you have this stuff on board. Can I throw that overboard? 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 I don't want the efficiency modules there. Doesn't matter, they're going to get picked up by somebody else in the future. Okay, so you are going to go to Vulcanus. You are going to have a request satisfied. That request is going to be batteries. We're going to go for not 2K, we're going to go for 4K. Done. And we're going to remove all those conditions. Or, yeah, I want you to have lots of batteries on board. I want you to have other stuff on board. The calcite, I guess we could drop to... Okay, you can drop that, because that can at least get upgraded here. You can probably just drop those at Fulgora. Okay, Fulgora, you are going to have a new condition, which is item count, and it's going to be batteries 0. When batteries equals 0, and that's it. I'm not going to give you any other conditions because you are now doing a one-way route. The one-way routes are one of the things I'm trying to replace. Yeah, I don't want that anymore. I don't want... that one, actually, I wouldn't mind. Can I keep that for a little bit? Actually, no, it doesn't matter. Okay, so your now one job in life is to pick up batteries, an awful lot of batteries, and move them from one to the other. I might even up that again to 6K, but you're probably going to get replaced in the not too distant future. All right, we have our wonderful Gleba platform. Our wonderful Gleba platform that makes us carbon. That's really its main purpose in life. Technically, it also makes calcite. That should be technically a space platform. I guess that doesn't need to be on. All right, so it has one main purpose in life. It is to grab as many asteroids as it can, put them through the auto roller, and then kick out any iron, which we do absolutely nothing with, kick out any carbon, which we're bringing over to this carbon processor, which is just kicking out the carbon and putting it into the hub, at which point we can drop it down to the Gleba surface when Gleba needs carbon. Carbon is actually being used to make, obviously, the carbon fiber. So, hence we have a space platform. That way I don't have to worry about trying to burn a whole lot of spoilage and turn it into a carbon. That way we can just, nice and simple, really simple. Also, at the same time, this is how we're getting calcite to run Gleba. We obviously have our little auto roller, which is then going to roll any asteroids we get, kick the ice out, all the ice comes over here, and it gets turned into the calcite recipe. And then any ice that we actually get out of this process goes into a pair of crushers. I know I can throw it overboard. I don't need to throw it overboard. I just put a couple of crushers on board. We also have the iron to copper recipe that does the same. So I have access to copper in orbit. Also via this crusher, I have access to iron. Technically I have access to copper plate. And this can even make its own space platforms should we want to expand it in the future. But this little platform I'm really happy with. It's serving its purpose for Gleba. But I could do with a couple more of them. I definitely think that Narvis, which also needs an import of calcite, if we'd offset that somewhat with a space platform, that probably wouldn't be a bad idea. We have the wonderful Mold Express. The wonderful Mold Express just picks up mold, moves it back and forth. Guy is a legendary ship. He does wonders. And the best part is if I turn him off, he stops picking up mold, at which point he just hangs around in orbit around Gleba, waiting for a new shipment of mold, and therefore all the science just rots on Gleba. We have a Vulcanus Gleba, which is doing our landfill. Also doesn't need that request group. Cool. Yeah, this one's moving our landfill and our stone across, and obviously he's not doing it fast enough because we're constantly out of... If you're making 1 per second, you use 5 per second. Yeah, you're processing about as fast as you can. We can upgrade them to Epic. Epic is an option. Okay, you moving out across stone and our landfill. We have the mineralogical science pack ship. Again, same story. Little ship moves science back and forth. Also does pick up some calcite whilst it's in orbit, which it can drop off at Narvis just to sort of help out a little bit. I don't need that request group anymore, and I don't need that request group anymore. Yeah, I will add the calcite back in. Hang on, how much science are you trying to pick up? 10k. Not going to add in the science. Yep, but we are going to kick out that. We're going to kick out that. We're going to kick out that. We're going to throw some other things overboard. Can I change this to just repair packs? These ships have been unbeatable, undefendable, unbreakable, and they're literally just hanging around orbit half the time. They have more than enough time to fill a fuel tank, should we choose to fill a fuel tank, and then fly back and forth at high speed, picking up science. Speaking of science, sure, another 86,000. It's a dead flat line until I forget to click the next button. Yep, so you can just pick up 10,000 science. You can drop off the productivity modules when we get there, and you can probably fit more science in your inventory, but we'll worry about that later. All right, on to our next ship. Our next ship, a part of our little interplanetary fleet, is the belt mover. He just moves around belts. I'm actually going to remove that group. And, oh, this group is, if we pick up, this group's an important group. This is picking up any blue belts from Fulgora and dropping them off at Vulcanus, yep, to be upgraded to blue belts. We don't need to do that anymore. That is definitely done. And I also don't really need you to pick up the speed modules anymore. So I need to drop them off somewhere, but same story. We're going to remove all this excess. You're just going to have the repair packs on board. You're on the way to Gleba. You can drop that off. 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 You can drop off those, I guess. And I'd really like to drop off more, but your trash slots are full. So, yeah, this guy just moves around belts. He has an interrupt, which means anytime he runs out of belts in stock, He will then head directly back to Vulcanus, pick up more belt, and then continue on from where he left off on his route. Okay, last ship I have is another Vulcanus to Narvis, and this guy is moving around mainly calcite and speed modules. I don't really need you doing that anymore, except I want you to pick up more calcite. So can we do calcite? Can I set this to 5k? And we're going to remove the speed modules, and we're going to remove this whole group. And same story, we're just going to tie this up and throw that overboard, that overboard, that overboard, that overboard, that, and that. Okay. All right, so that's where we stand with our space fleets currently. We're above Narvis. They can go overboard as well. All right. This is where we're up to with our space fleet currently. If I throw that overboard, we can then shove on our way and go back and pick up some more calcite. So that's where we're up to. But like I said, we have a space platform for Gleba, and I'd like to build another one. So what we're going to do is going to make a brand new platform. We're going to call you Platform Narvis Platform. I know, just bear with me. Now, because we've spent the last couple of videos looking at different modules, different ways to build a ship quickly, efficiently, doing the deep dives onto space building or ship building or platform building, however you want to look at it, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to use some of my existing ship modules to hopefully stitch together something fairly efficient fairly quickly. I was really happy with this design, but I can definitely see after, going and doing a few things, there are definitely some improvements to be done. With our platform arrived, first thing I want to do is I want to turn off requests so it doesn't try and build anything. Next thing I want to do is grab some space platform and give myself a little bit of room to consider my options. Yes. Like that much. Sure. All the platform in the world. All right. So first thing I want to have is which I don't actually have a copy paste of, is I want this. I want this little thing here. Okay. I want super simple. I don't want anything special. This space platform, I can't scroll that far. Yeah, there is problems with trying to build too big, and that is, some of it actually has to exist if you want to scroll too far away from the hub. All right, I want to have something like this, something very plain, very simple, just a little thruster at the back. These platforms are meant to sit in orbit, but there's nothing to say that we can't move them around, fly them around, and send them off to get resources or other things or upgrades from other planets. So that's pretty much what the engines are going to look like. I don't think they're going to go there. I'm not sure. But we're going to have engines. We're going to have engine at the back somewhere. It's going to do engine-like things. All right. Next thing I want is I definitely want a reroller. I'm a very big fan of the reroller, especially when we're looking at this particular platform above Narvis. We can get iron. We can get copper. I don't really care. We can get carbon. I probably don't care. I can get calcite. That one I do care about. I can get sulfur. I don't care. And I can get ice. Yeah, I really want only one item, and that is the calcite. On top of that, I also need to make sure that it has guns, and the guns have ammo. Actually, technically we're above Narvis, so I don't have to worry about guns. But we're going to make guns anyway, in case we choose to fly this somewhere. So what I want to do is I want to come in here, and I want to get the Smart Asteroid Reroller, this one, which its sole purpose in life is to take in every single asteroid you can feed it, and then kick out iron, kick out carbon, kick out ice, and then store the rest inside the reroller. Once we have enough in the reroller, it's just then going to activate the recipes on every single one of these crashes that currently has no recipe and start re-rolling them into hopefully something else. Hopefully something you want, and that's its whole purpose in life. It is a smart system. It's hooked up to a smart battery, and therefore if the battery charge gets too flat, which won't happen on this platform because it's a stationary platform in orbit, but that's besides the point. If the battery gets too flat, it turns off the reroller, because all of these have 2 speed modules in it, which means they are very power hungry to start with. Add a couple of extra speed modules, more power hungry, hence safety feature. Also has a single crusher that is making iron ore. Its purpose is to go off the backup ammo, because obviously if you're relying on items to come in to then make your primary iron, your primary copper, your primary whatever for ammo, and this fails for some reason, i.e. you get nothing but ice, that could be a giant issue. Hence we have a backup in here that can take some iron out of this system no matter what and run at all times. So you are going to go off the backup ammo. In my particular case, that's all we need, because again, it's a space platform that shouldn't move. So we have, again, a couple of choices. I like this one, which should be everything I need. You need to bring in iron ore at the bottom. Can I put you here? Like, they're off by a tile, but I think I can live with that. Oh, hang on, no. The inn is there. Oh, okay, well, that probably makes life a whole lot easier. Yeah, the inn is the one now at the bottom, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to put you there. You actually line up with the previous module, and we're just going to change this belt to a straight belt and remove that. Yes, all my blueprints come with markers on them to make it easy for those who choose to, become a Patreon member and download my blueprints. That way it's nice and simple for them. That's actually an iron ore out, which I don't need. Yeah, that's an iron ore out. I'm not going to have the iron ore out. We're just going to stop the iron ore here. I could have the belt loop around. We could just stop it. I think I'm just going to stop it. We'll just fill this with iron ore once. We're going to make ammo. Ammo is going to get kicked out to the walls, and then that's going to be the end of that. All right. Next thing I need to do is I need to open this one because I'm moving them all down here. I have asteroid processing. We have 3 different types of asteroid processing. We have iron ore, which I probably one at the top. Iron goes to the blue one. Yeah. So we're going to put iron at the top because it needs to get over to here. We're then going to obviously put ice next because it's the next one to get to the engine block area. And then we're going to throw down carbon. Okay, that's going to be our 3 different material processing. Yeah, material processing. Obviously, I don't need these belts, nor do I need these markers. And this should be as simple as pick up the whole thing and we can go there, I think. So that's ice. Oh, well, that's ice into the carbon, which is a problem, but we can change the filter like that. You can then be ice, and you are going to be our iron. Our iron, we're going to jump over to here somewhere. I can't see the links to the undergrounds. And our ice, we can travel like that. That should do me. Can I slide you up a tile? I could slide you up a tile. If I slide you up a tile, I can worm that around. Okay, can I slide all of that up one tile? And then I can take the iron like this. And then have it... It can go there, but that's probably going to end up being an underground. Yeah, and I might even move this in one tile. Just so I have a little bit of a gap over here. And you, same story, you can actually slide up 2 tiles. So I'm going to dump you there. Okay, that should be our asteroid processing area. Yep, and ammo making. That's all in one. So the only thing I'm going to need around the side, you are definitely turned off. So we'd have 2 inserters, 1 for iron and copper, 2 inserters, 1 for ice and 1 for calcite. Also 2 inserters, 1 for carbon and 1 for sulfur, providing I want those materials. Like I said, I don't think I want most of those materials. And then this would go, I don't know, about here somewhere. I also need to get iron, obviously, down to the engine. I need to get ice down to the engine. I need carbon up to the engine before they head up to the hub, but I can put those absolutely anywhere. I do need to have storage. Storage, I already know I'm just going to shove. It needs to connect to the hub, but I'm going to have it connect in the oddest spot possible so I can drag it thoroughly out of the way. Because the only place I can access the hub with inserters, well, the only way I can access central storage with inserters is via the hub. So I want to have you connect with just 2 tiles. So you make a connection, but it's a very tiny connection. And then we're just going to move that off to the side so I have access in here if I need to get more things in and out. If we go back and look at the Gleba platform, that's exactly what I've done. I could move these and rearrange these more to get more access. I didn't need them on this platform, but every platform's a little bit different. All right, last thing I need to do is obviously have that reattach. Last thing I need to do... Cool. Last thing I need to do is I need to put in some sort of defenses. Now, I have a bunch of modules, a couple of modules, tolerable guns, tolerable rockets, those sort of stuff. I have that, which is a little bit overkill for what we want, because this is going to be a mostly stationary platform. So I think in this particular case, I want one of these. I want to keep things very, very simple. I'm going to copy from there to there. That way it comes with solar and everything. I'm going to go back to this platform and we're going to start. Sure. And then overlap. You need to have your inserter put back, and we're just going to assume Hang on, the bottom one's asteroids. So bottom one asteroids going that way. Top one's ammo going the opposite direction. And we're good to go. If the bottom one's asteroids, that solar panel needs to go away, and it's going to go into there. That's our asteroid in area. And I need the underground put back. Yep. And then any blank area you see anywhere, we're just going to fill it in with solar panels and stuff later. All right, so if I put another one of these, say there, we could call that a corner. You can go there, and oh, yeah, I need to slice off all of this. Yeah, remove all of that. Okay, so again, modular built blueprints. So we're going to go here. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. It looks good enough. And then I want to slice off everything above there. And then I'll have to do something about the corner. But this should give us a front wall, probably at least one more. And then if I slice everything off there, we can then put the next one here, here, here. And then I lined this up here. Can I remove you? That gun can stay. And I guess there. And then there. And I'm off by a tile, which means at one corner I made a different decision. Yeah. I can iron out those items later. All right, so with that done, it would be pretty much just take any empty space, fill them out with solar panels, and that's, well, any 3-tile space, any 2-tile space, like, I don't know, gaps in here, we'd fill them with accumulators instead. Again, it's a space platform. It shouldn't need accumulators. It's probably not going to be doing a whole lot, but it doesn't hurt. They don't do a lot. They don't use a lot. And I have empty tiles that I might as well fill up anyway. That's going to be our rough plan. I want definitely one of these for Narvis, so it can sit in orbit, make calcite, and just offset some of the calcite that I need to ship around. So give me 2 seconds to iron out all the details, get all this fixed up, and we'll get the damn thing built. As you've seen, the platform has been built. It did need a modification, of course, because I want to grab calcite. So I've put in a couple more advanced crushers to make sure we're making more advanced calcite, which are also going to produce ice, which we're going to need to run for the engines. But also I had a standard normal ice crusher that would make ice as a backup plan. It's now hooked into a condition, hooked into this belt that says, hey, don't run if you have more than 50 ice on the belt, because that means that belt's very full. And of course, I still need to make calcite, so any excess iron, any excess ice from the calcite process just gets thrown out the back of the ship. And actually, the ship's already made its maiden voyage. It's been all the way from here to Fulgora and back because, well, I could. I also added in a second engine because it had a top speed of about 30 or 40, which is plenty. It's actually really plenty, but having a little bit more speed's probably not a bad idea, because I've even got as far as setting up smarts that if we get very low on calcite, we're going to go with 100. If we're getting low on calcite, i.e. I'm almost out of calcite, this ship, it's technically a ship, don't care, it's technically a ship, the ship / platform will actually launch itself, it'll fly across to Fulgora, pick up nothing at Fulgora, but what's going to happen is every single asteroid collector is going to have something to grab, and therefore we're going to refill the belts. So what it's all about is about getting these belts refilled with as many asteroids as possible. And from the looks of it, I could probably put in another side load just here somewhere. Yeah, I need to look at doing that. Although it's on both sides of the belt just here, so maybe I don't need it. I don't But yes, every single one of these asteroid collectors, they have no filters on them. They just grab everything possible. And then we just rely on the auto sorter. Oh, because that's the primary side. Oh, the belt that's clear is the primary side. No, I do not need to have it shuffle to the other side of the belt, because that's the primary side. That's the one that they actually output on. This is the backup side. This is the side that they don't output on. So I actually want to have one lane clear, because that way an asteroid you pick up passes all the way around uninterrupted into the re-roller as quick as possible. But yes, this little platform is doing well. I'm very, very happy with it, and it's going to produce some amount of calcite. If we just do a quick look-see, calcite. Okay, 250 per minute. I can't argue. I really can't argue with that. It's not a bad stat to have. And, you know, sure, it produces more of other things, but I don't care about the other things. I just care about the calcite. All right. In fact, I'm so happy with the platform. There's a Vulcanus platform ready to go. We're just waiting for the tanks to fill up a little bit more. The plan of this one is going to be getting sulfur. So I'm going to have to, same story, I'm going to have the excess sulfur thrown overboard, or the excess carbon thrown overboard, and we'll just keep the sulfur. Or once this is full, it'll get its modification, and I even have one in construction for Fulgora. I don't really know what's the point of the one at Fulgora. Maybe a little bit of calcite if we want to do actually any smelting with the iron ore that we're getting from all the recycling. Maybe not a bad idea. I don't know, but if it's there, it can at least do things. If it's not there, it can't do things. So we're just waiting for this one to get put together. Turns out that I'm a little bit short on space platforms because, well, I figured having 4,000 in stock was plenty. Turns out I was very wrong, and it's not plenty. Not when each one of these is 6,000 platform each. Yeah. So this ship shall be sent off, and also our Vulcanus ship shall be sent off. That way I can get sulfur in directly to Vulcanus, which means I can cut back on that coal liquefaction just a little bit. Also probably carbon, actually, because we're also using coal to make carbon for the tungsten carbide. So we could offset this entirely, hopefully, by just importing it from space. But this is where I'm going to leave this particular episode. Was all about, you know, trying to iron out some of the interplanetary logistics. There's still more that I need to look at. Like, this ship still needs to be retired. Other ships need to be retired. Big Bones needs to have a retrofit. But we'll be covering that in a future episode. Either way, I'm going to leave this here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed. And remember, if you want to have your very own space platform, you just build it with a couple of modules. It doesn't take that long. Anyway, that's it. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. See you in the very next video. All right.